challenged, no matter the size. Hear from an emphasizing in helping middle market company assets. The market that moves America, managing director of the College of Business National. We're pleased to detect that we've never really this podcast series property. Our two representatives from one companies, Harness IP. Harness IP, intellectual property firm, patents, trademarks, secrets, and much, much more. To the podcast, Brian, Joe.
Thank you, Doug.
Yeah, thanks, Doug.
Before we get started, tell me a little bit more backgrounds, kind of your experience, and then what you at Harness IP, US office, correct? Okay, yeah.
No, themselves. I have a mechanical engineering degree, a major in material science a long time ago. He's from Washington University, sitting at various intellectual in St. Louis. Years, it's amazing to say. And over the years, I've IP from a litigator, trademarks, just kind of a miscellaneous, provide back kind of oddball IP. I also teach intellectual property law at Washington University, where I graduated from, first in a trademark course, and then
wonderful.
So, Joe, so Brian is really consistently in the same nationally and international, but they got a good lead property question you might have. A little bit about my background, Doug. We're both from the East Coast originally. My background is I came out to St. Louis to graduated law school and then practiced firm here in St. John to Dallas, Texas, where I joined an oil company, counsel there for 6 years. Some real insight into making the decisions and critical intellectual property and increasingly companies. So our firm is, I think, the top 10 usually, like in the United States, intellectual property. Since in trademark registrations than most any other firm in the country. Do banking or real estate cases or anything like that. We do only patents, trademark, licensing, and trade secrets. We have a sophisticated associates in every so when our clients come to us, intellectual property that I need in, there are 10 countries for us. We can certainly help any other country in the world. So Brian and I are the rarer guys in our firm. All forms of intellectual property is kind of a dating term to a lot of people. They don't know really what it is, but we protect brands that give businesses litigate that stuff as well. That's our background, and we're really
interesting. So, I mean, it's this conversation at the top. Intellectual not a topic that in the work that we've done here at the center, as you just pointed out. I mean, so could you both starting point? Why do you view the middle target customer for your firm?
These companies, startup companies, need of issues, and they have in-house people, but it's always companies often don't have the and people need to help the most. So that's why. And selfish because for us, because they make a big difference. One of our big clients in Wheels, but there we can just changing contribution. Who doesn't want to do that?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with Brian more. Region is intellectual property. What is those assets were? He would say certainly my plant, probably the plant. Fast forward to today, and in it for the gold watch, they're not armament, and the plant might be a place in Asia. May have a smaller size facility outside the country. Property, what it is, actively compete against whoever it is that's selling products and intellectual property as we give you your competitors. So, and it's especially important to the multinational companies. They use us to a lot of their day-to-day stuff, but who guide them and steer. The small startups are struggling. Usually don't have a lot of middle market guys, or the guys who contribute the most to the GNP, need intellectual property help and trying to see, our contributions translate into, win in a major lawsuit that keeps or enables them to capture more. A huge target for us, and we delight when we.
Yeah, Joe, I think you meant that, intellectual widely misunderstood or not. Do you get the sense that the leader of businesses actually yourself not to help protect and defend on it?
Absolutely. I think as you can tell from the short conversation, Brian and I are real practical. Make things readily understandable to people. We're not going to talk over your head. We're not, we're going to really.
Yeah, we often say we use mid-sized companies have the challenges with sources. So that, I mean, you probably live this, right? For trusted experts, really help them out with this. As we think about, kind of some of the trends, opportunities, I'll throw one out there, for instance. We're seeing that every conversation that we're having, but I'd be curious on your perspective, like what do you see in the future of this field?
Particularly the mediation, right? Company, your product, your service. And so finding that, and keep the holy grail of that. Once you find that, how do we keep that? Make sure other people get away from us, and property does. If your product better's got a new feature, utility patent on it, of course. Design better, it's slicker looking and sleek. There's design patents, better packaging, better litter. That's a field. So there's protection for differentiator is it's up to the native part, and it's that it stays there.
Brian is right on. To kind of add to that a little bit down, just moving forward, is truly seen the markets for our clients, the borders of the United States. Started 40 years ago. I've been at it. And, most American companies, unless you were a business within the world, you're selling around the world, selling platforms. You have to be aware of who's counterfeiting your brands. And how do people from stealing your marketing, your products, and in markets compete in or maybe they ran off and registered in a different country and they got there first and they're claiming, hey, there's counterintelligence throughout the world that actually things that are developing here protect it in the rightful owner. So that's a huge issue right now. Yes, where your business is going to go, your names and, it's the way they work and all that sort of stuff.
Over the course of you viewed like a beneficial asset toward intellectual property, does it create more risk and challenge?
Man, that's a loaded question. But
understood.
If you can George Jetson, right, and thinking around in spacecrafts, I imagine it's possible. We may get to the point where beam actually occurs, where individual cells. It doesn't matter really what you think of her. It's not, people's imaginations are as wild as you can imagine, and up with things. That's the right word for it. But it's not bad technology, and it's going to continue. News about certain aspects, but you're not going to keep marching forward. So you just have if you're not prepared to them, it just may run you over.
Got it. Copyrights with mid-sized firms, particularly. Why do you guys feel to understand that can be offered by? There's intellectual property. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Jump into this one because it's one of my favorite. As I may have, I think copyright is fucking intellectual property. A great equalizer. If you create a chip, which can be anything written, it can be your website brochures or it's an original work. If somebody sat down and actually figured these words together in an instruction in a brochure that's to lay out your website or whatever, both from stealing it or permission, if you register, you don't have to register it automatically, but if you really want the benefit, and the $65 is what it costs to register a copy. Probably $400 because we know the way we do it. Questions, but there is a form. We'll tell you for each work. There's a government form that'll walk you through to copyright.gov and there's for textual work, document. You can actually 20 steps in the form that tell you. So if you want to take the time to do it, our clients on how to do this too. So you're coming out with a new lot of promotional is going to collateral stuff, a new website for it. You got instruction manual, register all the copyrights in that. Competitors get a hold of that substantial portion of it. It's usually considered hard action against them, but if level registered before the first infringement you can sue them. Statutory damages and attorney you're entitled to this. Any lawyer will tell you, I don't kill dispute or a car accident. The lawsuit is damages, how I was damaged. And it's always, your word against theirs to this extent. They'll bring in an expert. But with copyrights, there's a statute, depending upon acts of infringement, the judge claiming, what is it, $1,500? Right there in the statute. And then the judge has, if you win the case, is whether they're reasonable or not. You don't get them because the statute says. So I can't tell you how many people sent these letters off to, hey, you just infringed owned by one of our clients and sue you and we'll get our statutory damages. And they kind of laugh and chuckle and, figure out that we know what we're talking about, pay us some money. So, because it doesn't matter if you're big or whatever, you get a lot of protecting your copyrights and attached to anything, an audio, written material. It's important to driving sales, protect the copyright in that.
I think what Joe said is market has copyright. Probably, if the listeners probably know, if you create a form, it's copyrighted. The steps Joe outlined, you should take to protect it, but copyrighted works, and they should take steps to protect trademark infringement. Everybody, newspaper, and the fund trade copyright is out. And what was your phrase? Biggest bang for the buck.
Yeah.
Get on.
Could be a copyright and a patent. Personally curious, I'm sure many. What distinguishes those two? What's the difference?
So I'm going to give you what intellectual over the discrete protection, which comprise protect inventions, right? We all know are usually machines, which cover the way a product looks, not the cool way it looks. So you have plant patents for plants. So I'd say, because we're here in St. Louis and Montana, a lot of plant patent work for them. But unless you're a huge agricultural company, you're probably never going to deal with design patents. Cover the cool. And I'm going to give you an example, like a packing peanut. Create a unique shape to it. You can. Now, the protected by utilities protect inventions, original works of precisely what copyrights inventions. Original works of authorship, a movie script. It can be a choreographed work. It can be it can be how you put the IKEA. It can be your website, an original work of created by an author. That's somebody. Obviously, you can't this existence. Everything else. So nothing is truly the original. So what copyright protects work. Patents cover inventions, brands, right? So something that identifies a source of a product, and it has to be a single source. You may not even, I'll give you an example, like food restaurants. There were a group of 9 who decided they wanted, so they formed a company called, they still own sandwich shops. You don't know who the actual owners, Associates Inc. Marks protect brands, which consumers in the marketplace to distinguish what brands do, works of authorship. Patents cover inventions, and then you have something else called a trade secret. It can be anything, a business, a competitor, the subject of ongoing everything. So, for Kentucky, well-known trade secrets things. They give a competitive advantage in efforts to maintain their secrecy. That's with trade secrets. Protect commercial. You got trademarks that distinguish among different places. You got original works of authorship, inventions.
Maybe as the final question, you think about this. If we're talking to a mid-CB owner, CEO, what advice, if they were maybe thinking about their own intellectual protected, are there like the steps for them to think about that process?
Do you want to talk, Brian? I got an answer for that, but I'll let Brian.
The thing is to do everything at once. It gets expensive and may not triage. Where are the copying the product features, brands, or people? The company's literature, where just take things in a. Also, do education about just how it works, and know about what's protectable and help the company make better decisions. As you address then you start to set up where you have a process to identify what's new and just to evaluate, is it worth to go get that. So it's just taking. You can't just all of a sudden you'll lose overprotect or lose focus. Really needs to look out for.
All that's accurate. The only thing we'll spend 2 hours with you down, and I'm going to want management. I'm going to want somebody from the marketing group in it, and I'm going to say, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. Where's your money coming from? Where's your money coming from? What products are next today, and which provide you with revenue? Really aren't contributing. And then we're going to drill down how well protected those. And I can tell you that we did go with a client. It was amazing because. But we made, I can't tell you the name, they made a product that had it. And everybody knew the name of the leading product that spent the reusable, but it was a spent product. And then a product that had did a particular function with it. And they were in the, where there's going out, they had so we said, hey, what if redesigned your main product to the main product once or twice or whatever, and the way they configure guess what? Now they had in order to use their main product, which was the industry standard, the expendable part. So it's all about revenue. Where's the revenue? Make sure that the revenue streams are protected.
And really fascinating. I know I've learned a lot. Our listeners have listened, and it's clear that there's passion for this. So I want to thank you for joining me. For more IP, you can visit their harnessip.com for joining the market that moves America.
Thanks for having us, Doug.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thanks.
The market that moves America. By subscribing anywhere podcasts subscribe to our email newsletter.